Hello, friends. Welcome today to another session of Inclusive Cloud. Today, we are going to learn about making purchase orders and how to look at inventory in Inclusive Cloud. So, a couple of things that we need to understand before we move further into Inclusive Cloud is how to understand items, how lead times are set, how is reordering managed in Inclusive, how do you check inventory, and how do you manage your purchase orders. So without wasting any more time, let's deep dive in. As you enter into the dashboard of Inclusive Cloud, you see a menu called Purchase Orders. Now, before even we deal into purchase orders, let me explain you a little bit about items. Each item in Inclusive Cloud is linked to one or more suppliers or vendors, and each of these vendors can have their own lead times, can have their own reorder quantities, and also can have their own supply cycles. So what do I mean by that? Let's take an item called as Botanica 29 and I will modify this item. And if you see, I have a quality, a design, and a shade which defines this item, apart from which I have a standard piece length, which clearly defines that this item generally arrives in rolls of 50 meters of length. For each item, you can set individual standard piece lengths, which will define what is the size in which the item comes. Now, you already have two suppliers who supply the very same item to you at different purchase prices. So there's a purchase price, there's a minimum order quantity. So somebody supplies it at a lower minimum order quantity, somebody supplies it at a higher minimum order quantity. Plus, there is a lead time, that is the time taken by the supplier to give you the material. Apart from this, if you want to automatically close the PO, once the material has arrived, you can select on auto close PO yes. And less received means if you have ordered for say 100 meters and if you receive 10% less, you still want to close the purchase order. Excess received is normally 1% and keep the PO open in days means even if you haven't received the 90% of the material, yet how many days would you want the PO to remain open? I hope the vendor linking is pretty clear. Just as we are here, we could also understand that one item could be linked to multiple selling prices. You could have different roll and cut prices, and each of these price lists can be linked to one or more customers at your end. Similarly, you could have different discount lists. Companies could maintain a single price list, but individual discount list, and even the discount lists are configurable at the level of an item, roll, and cut price wise. Whenever you come to your Inclusive Cloud screen, you have a search for inventory, and you can look for inventory by collection and serial number. Now, if you look in this case, you have a physical stock of 201 meters, you have an available stock. That means you don't have any pending sales orders in this item. Neither are there any open POs, and there is no expected date for fresh material. So if you want to look at detailed inventory, you can see those along with the warehouse. You can have more than one or more than one warehouse, and you can see how many pieces do you have in rolls and how many in cut pieces. Let's look at placing a new purchase order, and you can select the vendor and your company, the warehouse in which you want to call the material, the transportation partner. If you want to send out a mail to the supplier, you can tick mark on send email. You can click on add details and click collection, serial number. I'm putting in a purchase order of 100 meters. Similarly, the moment you finalize this purchase order, you have an expected date set in, an email goes out to the supplier, and an expected date is set in. So if you look at the inventory now, you'll be able to see that there is an expected date which has come in, which is basically based on the lead time of the supplier for this item, and there is an open PO. Now, if you want to see which are the open POs, you can configure this to show a pop-up out here, which will show all the open POs upon clicking this. And similarly, if you want to see the open SOs also, this is configurable, and you can see all the open SOs. Again, if you want to see which is the vendor supplying the products, you can view it here. If you want to block it, you can even block it for your staff members. Assuming I want to create a inward or a GRN for the material, I can create a GRN. I can enter the party's bill number. Assuming I received a 55-meter roll, and I also received another 50-meter roll. I just received one roll each. So the moment I create this GRN, this is a unconfirmed GRN. Now, GRN works in two ways. One is an unconfirmed GRN, and after you scan it and confirm it, it becomes confirmed. So right now, there's an unconfirmed GRN of 50 meters in Botanica 30 and 55 meters in Botanica 29. So when I look at the inventory, or when anybody in the sales looks at the inventory, they can clearly see that there is a pending GRN of 55 meters, although the open PO still stands at 100 meters. Now, the simplest thing to do right now would be to search the GRN and to confirm the GRN. So I can confirm the GRN. At this point in time, I can put in a rack number. I can also do this entire process over a handheld terminal. So I can basically scan all the pieces on a handheld terminal using an Android device. And the moment I confirm this, I also have a sticker print, which is with the rack numbers available. And what I see in the inventory right now would be the open PO is 45 meters because 55 meters has already been brought in. The open date stands as it is. And the new piece which has come in for 55 meters has a new rack location. Although I didn't put a lot number, but if I forgot to put a lot number and I want to do it again, I can always go ahead and edit the GRN and update a lot number. So let me quickly show that to you. I can edit this GRN and I can put a lot number. And now for the same inventory, I can see a lot number against the fabric also. This helps me give the customers an idea of what fabrics I have or what quantities I have belonging to the same lot. You can always close an existing purchase order number for partly received materials or for fully received materials. I can close a particular line item. So if I want to close Botanica 29, I can close that. And when I look at the inventory, then I would only be able to see what is open with me. So there's no open POs now. There's no expected date coming in now. But if I want to change the expected date, so for example, in Botanica 30, I've got 50 meters which is pending and the expected date is 17th of March. Now, for whatever reason, I want to update the expected date, so I can do that using the updated expected date function. And I can put a new revised date, which may be, say, earlier than 17th of March, and I can update this. So while I do that, anybody who checks for the inventory, either if it's the customer directly or one of your staff members, they can see that the original expected date was 17th of March, but the new date is 25th of February. So accordingly, they can call up their customers or give an information to the customers that some material is going to arrive earlier than expected. Most importantly, you can create your purchase orders using an Excel file. Almost all functions in the application are available for bulk upload using Excel or web APIs, or you can use our auto replenishment system. Now, the auto replenishment system is an intelligent reordering module which considers your average daily sales in a particular item, the stocks that you have in hand, the open purchase orders, and the movement of the material over the last 90 days. So it calculates the amount of demand that you may be having over the next 60 or 90 days, whichever is the lead time, and bases the amount of demand expected over the lead time, the system will propose a reorder program for you. Now, in certain materials where you want to keep some buffer stock, you can add a few more days to the lead time. So for example, a supplier supplies you with a lead time of 20 days, you can add another 10 days to hold on stocks for 30 days so that you don't run out of fast moving goods. So I'll quickly show you how this works. On reorder report, you can select a vendor and you can look for short items. I've looked for long items. Now, for any particular item, you have a lead time and an average sale, which will be auto-calculated by the system every night. And basis that average sale during the lead time, the system will generate a demand for you. So the purchase order process entirely can be optimized and made more intelligent as per your requirements. Once you have received your material, you can even do a purchase bill booking for your supplier using the system. So you can basically book their invoices and push those invoices to your accounting system if required. Select the vendor. You can put in his invoice or challan number. You can add, and all the items which have been confirmed would be available here. In case you want to make any changes to the price or the taxes, you need to do it at the challan level. You can add more components. For example, you have transportation and packing charges or some other short length discounts. These reasons can be added in the master and could be loaded onto the invoice of the supplier. If you have no other loading, you can put in the bill number and the bill date and save the invoice. Hasn't it been simple and easy to understand how Incluziv Cloud helps you with your purchase process? We'll have one more quick video coming soon, which will have everything about the stock operations and all the other little bit and small stock operations that we do at the warehouse. Thank you, and keep looking for Incluziv Cloud.